Hi guys, this is Tanya from firetvsticks, and thank you for joining me today in this podcast from Beyond the Streams. I hope that you enjoy it, and when you're ready, let's get started.
All right.
Oh, I love that intro. That was really so good.
I know the thing, when I started watching on, you probably want to save that to later for the questions.
Well, go ahead if you want to. Go ahead.
Go.
I was just going to say, when I first started watching YouTube videos, and one of the people who I was watching was Dr. Venture, and one of his lines is just click it. And I found myself, when I was doing my videos, click here, just click it, click here. And I thought, no, stop it. I've got to change that.
That's awesome.
It's so easy to pick up on what people say.
Yeah. So everybody who is listening out there within all the different platforms, or if you are on good old YouTube, as you can see, we do have Tanya from firetvsticks. So it is a great honor to have you here. We've been following you on YouTube also, so it's cool to see you grow. You grew pretty quick within a year, I would have to say, and you got some good content out there, and I think you've taught a lot of people, and I think that's like the name of the game with what we do is teaching people and helping people out with whatever they got. And for you, your channel's pretty much based a lot with like apps, APKs, Fire Sticks, streaming. So it's pretty neat. I just want to say welcome to the BS show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, how do I say it? It's like we don't have a choice to check out certain channels when they start to be talked about in the community. We have our own subscribers that'll start mentioning obviously other YouTubers' names, and we'll see them in the chat. And I mean, us as content creators, we can't limit ourselves to where we learn from or where we can get information from. You always have to stay open-minded and watch as much content as possible too. So at the end of the day, we're all streamers or end users or whatever you want to call us.
Yeah, because you will get subscribers who subscribe to some channels but not others. So they may see some information on somebody's channel, but they haven't seen, because they're not subscribed to that channel, they don't know about that information. So it is good to keep an eye on what's going on, so that you can keep bringing, even though content may be old, it's still new to some people. It's going to be new to somebody. So it's always still worth rehashing stuff and bringing it to the subscribers and to the community.
Absolutely. So what I would like to do is I'd like to start off with who you are, where you're from, maybe your upbringing, like how did you learn some of this stuff. I really don't want to get into the YouTube stuff just yet.
Okay.
Pretty much everything that happened before all of this stuff.
Okay. Oh God. Right. Everything that happened before all this stuff.
Just the last 20 or 30 years.
Back in 19.
Okay. Well, that's not too much to cover.
Like, for instance, let's say, when did you realize that you were passionate about streaming or passionate about technology, or what kind of motivated you to start down this journey?
Okay. Well, I guess we're going back years now. We're talking about 20 years. So say 2000, early 2000s. I left home pretty young, so I was in a in a flat or an apartment, whatever you guys call it, but a flat. So income was relatively low, and back then I had only had a little job, so it wasn't bringing in much income, and it was pretty hard to get things like. At that time, it was hard and expensive to get things like music albums, DVDs, stuff like that to watch and subscribe to. Like over here, we've got like cable packages. I won't mention names of those cable packages, but you guys know, because you've got cable packages too, obviously. But there was just things that were just out of my budget at that time. when you're a kid over here, before streaming became mainstream and online, you had to like save up your allowance or save up your pocket money. Then you'd have a trip into town and treat yourself with a music album or a DVD or something. But
Yeah.
at those times, it just wasn't possible because every penny that was getting in was going towards living, rent, food, bills. So I started off looking at a little application at the time called Emu, and using that to, like get your free sources of entertainment.
Yeah. No, just not to stop you, but when you say here, where are you from?
Oh, sorry. Okay. So, yeah, I'm from the UK, in case any of you were wondering, if you didn't know, because of my
Can't tell from your
accent.
accent.
So, I'm from the UK. I'm from a county called Gloucestershire, which is in the southwest of the UK. Lived there all my life. So, yeah, that's where I'm from.
Now so I've been around this whole streaming thing for freaking ever. Like I know a lot of people, and every time anytime I ever get on a chat with some of the UK people, everybody always says, "Don't come to the UK. There's nothing good to see here." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I want to go to Westminster. I want to go to Big Ben. I want to do this. I want to do that." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I want to do a lot of stuff." And I forget who it was that said it. Maybe it might have been DJ Themes or it's one of the Skinners out there right now, and he was just saying like he's like, if you ever come to the UK, if you name one location, doesn't matter where, like it's not that far to get there. That everything is pretty close together. So then I started joking, and then I said, okay, give me the name of the best pub that you got. Here they call them bars. And that's where we're gonna go, and we're gonna get shit faced.
Even though things are, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Tanya. Even though things are close by, traffic is pretty horrendous.
Oh,
Travel
God.
times are pretty long. At least
Yeah.
that's just my understanding. I do have family in the UK, so at least that's just my understanding. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, traffic can be a bit of a nightmare, especially if you're on one of the busy motorways, which I guess is your equivalent of your highways.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are just notoriously bad. And sometimes if there's been an accident on there, then you can be stuck on the motorway in England for quite a few hours.
Oh God, hours.
Yeah, hours, especially if there's been a bad accident. I don't know, it's just horrendous sometimes to drive around. So you want to, I try to avoid motorways as much as I can and just go on the country roads rather than the main motorways.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that there's loads of lovely places to visit in England. There's some really, really nice places. In the south, you've got Devon and Cornwall. They are some really, really beautiful areas to go and visit. We've got some really nice coastlines there. I really enjoy going on holiday in the UK to Devon and Cornwall. And then up north, you've also got the Lake District and the Peak District, and it's just really nice. I don't think we've got the variances that you've got over in either the US or Canada. Like we haven't got your huge mountain ranges, but we have got some really nice coasts and forest areas. It depends on where you go. It's really nice.
Yeah.
You've obviously got the areas that you don't want to go to.
Yeah.
But there, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to go. There's like a couple of things. It's funny how everybody says like they have a bucket list of stuff, like of places to go. I don't have a bucket of places to go. I have more of a bucket of places I'm not places, but I guess things to see, and it happens to be in specific places.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to go to Spain because they have the whole matadors and the bullfighting and all that. The UK, I've always been very intrigued with. I love history. Like for me, I used to be in the Marines here in the United States, the military, and some of the speeches and some of the things that Winston Churchill used to say, I was like, dude, this guy was so smart. He was very cautious, but very smart at what he did and very strategic. So I've studied a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, man, it would be just so cool just to go and see it, you know, there firsthand.
Yeah, you definitely should. I think, yeah, if you like kind of stuff like that, I think you'd have a really nice time over here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole lot of history. So if you like history, then there's a whole lot of history over there, right?
It
And I
definitely
mean,
is.
without the UK, there wouldn't really be much of Canada or the US the way we see it
True.
today, I think. So, I mean,
Oh, for sure.
even in Canada, the Queen is still seen as the head of state, even though she doesn't do anything here. So,
Really? I don't know what she does over here either, but
She's the queen.
she's the queen.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, go ahead and proceed with that. What were you saying? Which app were you using? I think you said EMC or
Emule, so it's EMULE. If you can't.
Emule. Oh, that was like a Lime Share or like a Napster or whatever. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that's what I was using in the early 2000s, and that's where I would always get my free content from.
Yeah.
So it started quite early, like 20, well, for me anyway, like 20 years ago, getting stuff like that. And then I guess from after email, I guess you just go on to a natural progression with the things that came along, like you said, Napster, and you also had uTorrent. So just start getting stuff that way, because that was the main way that you got stuff like that back then, that I was aware of anyway. That was your main source of getting free content, because you
But
didn't
you had
have
to be very careful because
yeah,
a lot of the stuff was like mislabeled, or things could be viruses hidden within stuff. Like you had to be very careful.
yeah. Same now as well. You still got to be careful with things as well, especially if you're still using those kind of applications. You never know
I
what's
kind of feel like
hiding.
now there's a lot more cleaner places.
Yes.
Like back then there was very few places, and you had to kind of be a little bit more mindful of the sources within them. Now there's a lot of sources, not saying that they're all good, but there's a lot more options, and as long as you find a decent path to go down, then you're pretty stable. Like filing stores is an example, right? So there's a lot of people who have filing stores. If you find one that you trust, then you're generally pretty good, because you understand, there's a process before they put things in there. But then there's obviously filing stores that'll just throw anything in there and you don't know what you're getting. So it's definitely interesting how that progression has happened.
Yeah. So from like using uTorrent, I guess in the UK anyway, things like that started to get blocked by your ISP. So then you had to go and try a different avenues of looking at
Can you
stuff.
just give me a time frame of when that was happening? Because it's just so crazy that they were like blocking content so early in the game.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was kind of like mid 2000s they started, I think, because that was when I had to start moving away from there. And by like 2010, I'm pretty sure that it was bad for blocking, because not only in the UK either, but I lived in Spain for a couple of years as well, and the same there. It was blocked in Spain too. So then I had to progress to things like using an NZB Usenet downloader service. And then I would use that in conjunction with my NAS unit. And it was a really cool program. I don't know if you guys ever used it, but you kind of like, there's an add-on called Couch Potato that you could sideload onto your NAS, and then you could just type in whatever program you watched, and then every week it would just automatically get your episode and stick it on your NAS. And it was really cool. I love that. It was so easy, because at the time there was just so many programs that I was watching. It was, if you forgot one, then you just missed that week's episode. But with that program, it would just grab everything for you automatically. And any movie that you wanted, just type it in and bang, it would just download it and stick it on your hard drive for you. It was really cool.
Now, before you moved to Spain, what were you doing for work?
I was a service manager for a group of care homes that took care of elderly people. So it was my job to visit the different locations that they had their houses. and just make sure that they were running them correctly and make sure that their staff had the correct training. And if their staff didn't have the correct training, then make sure that they were sent on the appropriate courses or train them myself on basic tasks. But before that, I was in a bank, and I was in kind of like in a side department to the IT department, where I would look at the coding that was behind their mortgage system, and then like look after code and data. But that was with a bank, and it was like very like 9 till 5, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
What type of coding? What type of coding were you looking at when you were at the bank?
Well, it wasn't like coding of like computer software systems. It was it's kind of hard to explain. It was like you had a system, and then you had like letters that the administrators would want to send out to customers. So I would like create the letter template and then hard code into their code so that it would look at the computer system and pull the right information off from the system and stick it into the letter. So using like it's a long time ago now, HTML and XML code to stick it into the letter, and then some of the data could be variables. So you have to put it into if statements, and then nested if statements, and if and or statements inside of the code. Just not like
Overly
computer code, but you know.
But I mean, that's all stuff that's like the basis of coding.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started with like QBasic, that's basically what it was. You write your ifs and your ands, and you tell it what kind of data to pull. And no matter what code you program in, the concept of it is pretty much that basic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the if and and statements. I know there's a lot of with the different languages out there. It almost sounds you could have been on some sort of like classic ASP, maybe some sort of SQL.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if you were working with letters. I know there is this program. So I used to work at the hospital, and I used to do database and reporting, and my title was data reporting analyst. And that was there was a program called Crystal Reports.
Yeah.
And and that one, it was you would have to connect that. You'd have to have a DB connection over to the server or to the database, wherever it was coming from. And then from there, once you have it all laid out into the report, then you would write if this, then that, or this or that, or else this and that. And it was sometimes the code would be like a freaking book.
Yeah.
You know, just to get like the person's first name and last name together. It's like, damn it.
Yeah, because sometimes it puts the data in like an unreadable format. So not only did you have to do the if and the and the whatever statement, but then you had to format that to come out as a usable, human readable output. So it can get quite complicated. But yeah, that makes the job really interesting, and that gives you some sort of understanding as what's going on in the backgrounds to things.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. So when you were doing all of that, did you go to school for this? Did you go to college or the university to study this?
No, I just what it was I started working at the bank pretty early on. So we were using a pretty archaic system, and then what they decided to do was upgrade it to a new system with a new GUI interface, and it was all like sparkling and brand new. So because I'd been at the bank for a couple of years, and it had quite a high turnover rate of staff, and I was one of the ones who was there for the longest. So I got picked and chosen to go on this team who would then be looking at the integration of the data and the processes from the old system to the new system. Mm-hmm. So I had to do all like the destruction testing and system testing of the new system, bug reporting, suggesting ideas for fixes, training, writing all the procedure notes for the staff who were still using the old system, ready to be moved over to the new system. So I was writing procedures, training notes. I didn't deliver any training sessions. I just wrote the notes and then passed it on to somebody else, and then they delivered the training. But I think my experience with doing that kind of stuff has helped me with where I am today. Planning things out step by step and making the process.
I'm glad you said GUI. So when nxtlvl and I first started to really get to know each other, we were jumping on each other's panels. One of the things that I used to say a lot back then was like, "Oh yeah, look at this GUI interface," or "Look at this GUI this," and then he was just like, "GUI."
GUI.
Then he loved that word and he couldn't stop saying it for a while.
GUI. Yeah.
So the second you said GUI, we got all giddy over here.
I didn't know that it was so common for people to actually say GUI. I mean, I looked at it, I always said GUI, but I guess it makes sense to call it GUI. It just sounds like a silly word to use, but it makes sense.
Sound like a silly word, yeah.
So before the bank, were you saying that it was like a nursing home or like a retirement residence, or?
That was after.
That was after?
It was, yeah. After the bank, I think I just got a bit tired of the bureaucracy that goes on in the background behind the banking system. Like nobody could move up unless you were friends with high management. So, and it was the 9 to 5 crap. So I just got out of there and just left. Well, I've had enough of that, and then just decided to do something completely different.
It's funny because I worked for the banks, and I worked downtown Toronto in like one of those big glass buildings, and I was in investigations. And well, funny enough, anti-money laundering and terrorist financing investigations for the bank. And then I left the bank and I lived in retirement homes for 3 years. I was managing the buildings, and they had moved me from province to province in Canada, and it was a completely different experience. So exactly what you're saying, there isn't any real training that goes into any of this. They just stick you in it and you hit the ground running. And if you continue to run and you don't break your knees, then you kind of stick around for a bit.
That's exactly what happened. Like I said, I got chosen to go into this new team who was going to be looking at the new integration, and then I just stayed there, and then all new staff that transferred over to that department, I just ended up being the departmental trainer. So I would train all the new people that came in, but it was all just from experience. It wasn't anything that I went and got, a qualification on. It's just, like you said, just hit the ground running and you just carry on.
Yeah. So when you would do the, you said department training, was it more one-on-one, or were you in front of like a bunch of people, or?
Oh yeah, that was one-on-one. So when we got new starters, I would sit with them for a couple of weeks and just show them everything, teach them everything. Yeah, just one-on-one.
Now, I'm just kind of like thinking, I'm like, that one-on-one talking and training. Do you think that's kind of stuck with you when you sit in front of a camera today?
Yeah, I think so. Because when I do my videos or when I do my live chats, all I think about is that person that I'm speaking to at that moment. I don't think about the figure or the number of how many is in the room or whatever. I'm just speaking to that person at the same time, that one person, and then moving on to the next person. So I think that's probably where it comes from. You're right.
Yeah, because one of the hardest things to do once you start to actually start recording yourself, no matter if it's audio or video, is to learn how to pace yourself, right? Because you just want to get all these ideas that you have in your head and you want to spit them all out. But you also, once you start to watch yourself on the other end, you start to realize, well, maybe I should talk a little bit slower, or maybe I should enunciate better, or maybe I should have paused here for a few seconds, right? But once you have that, I guess, experience talking one-on-one and actually doing trainings, and you realize how to talk, and it's actually like almost like a persona that you get into, that you have to kind of sit into it and be comfortable, be comfortable in your own skin and your own body to make sure that what you're teaching is going to be effectively learned on the other end. So yeah.
Well, it all really helps, and it does. It's good to think like that and do it like that. It really helps.
Yeah. Now after, so what made you decide to move to Spain out of all places? Because Spain is a whole separate language.
Well,
I think she said the banking system was so crazy she really wanted to change.
Well, she went into healthcare.
Yeah, and that
So
was
this
I
would have
was in
been
there
after that, right?
Yeah, I was there for in the home nursing home environment for a couple of years, and then that got really bad as well because you would see a lot of bad stuff.
Mhm.
And
And then that's
my
when you went to Spain.
yeah, after the home care stuff, me and my partner at the time, he had an idea to create a game for the iPhone market. So he got in touch with some developers over in Mumbai, a good team of developers, and then we come up with a plan and a project, and then put all that together, and that kind of took our interests for quite a while, a number of years, and because it was doing okay, and we were doing that from home, we were a bit fed up of the UK at that time. I think both of us had some personal stuff, some deep personal stuff going on as an individual. And we just decided to just make a fresh start and move. Because we were working from home, we thought we can go anywhere. We don't want to go too far. Want to go somewhere that's nice and just a place that I think we'd both been on holidays to when we were both younger was Spain. So it was somewhere that we knew and we felt comfortable with. So we researched a couple of places that were popular with the expatriate population. And then we went over and had a visit, had a look around the area and felt comfortable there. So just decided to pack up and make the move out of there.
Did you learn?
It's pretty risky, but sometimes in life you just got to take a chance, no matter what.
Exactly.
I mean, when I took that job, like I said, I was living in retirement homes for 3 years. I had gone for an interview that was an hour away from my house. And by the time an hour went by into that interview, I was on the phone with a district manager that was over 3,400 kilometers away. And they said, within 30 days, you're going to be living here. And I was like, the hell do I got to lose? Because they were having me live in the retirement home and they were giving me free rent, free food. My pay was subsidized because obviously I was living in the building, and you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not going to have any friends or family or whatever. And sometimes you just got to see how it goes.
Yeah.
You got to take those risks in life. And that's how we gain our own stories and our own experiences.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that was just the case for us as well. We just thought, do you want to do it? Yeah. Do you want to do it? Yeah. Okay. Just do it. Have an experience.
Now, did you learn Spanish out there, or were you trying to learn Spanish before you got there?
Well, it was kind of difficult because we were in that situation where we were working from home. I didn't have to go out and have a job in Spain where I had to be able to speak Spanish because we were working from home, just carried on speaking English at home. So we didn't have to learn it. But because I was there, 4 years I was there, so I did manage to pick up enough stuff to get me by, like in the shops and restaurants and bars and asking for directions, just the basic stuff, But the Spanish language is something that I do enjoy learning. So even though I've moved back to the UK, I still haven't stopped trying to learn more of the Spanish language. I do find it very difficult, but I do learn. I do still spend about 5 or 10 minutes just learning every day. I've got this Duolingo app. Yeah, I've got it on my phone, and I just it's just something that I do in the morning when I wake up and I'm sitting in with my morning cup of tea, just 5 minutes.
Okay, you brought it up, so I have to ask. I'm just starting to get into English and UKT brands myself. I actually drive 45 minutes away from my house to an English grocery store where they import everything from England, and that's where I buy my tea from. So, what's your favorite brand of tea?
Oh, you probably haven't heard of it because I don't have a big brand tea. We've got supermarkets. We've got a supermarket called Tesco. I don't know if you've heard of Tesco.
I've heard of Tesco. Yeah.
But I drink Tesco's own brand tea.
Really?
It comes in a red box. It's just Tesco's tea, and I really like it. I have tried other teas. I've tried Yorkshire tea, PG Tips, but this one a bit too strong for me. So Tesco's tea bags have got quite a nice taste. So that's what I.
My favorite tea is made by a brand called Taylor's. I think it's called Taylor. I'm going to go run over to my kitchen after this and check, but it's a Scottish breakfast. But every single one of the ones that they've made, I've absolutely loved. And I've tried a whole bunch of different ones. I try to try other brands, but I've kind of stuck to that one so far. So I'm always curious because a lot of the good teas that I've tried have come from, England, right? So I'm like, anytime I meet someone from the UK, I'm like, what's a good tea over there? Because I'm going to try it next.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely Tesco's.
Okay, I'll see if I can get some of those. I don't know if they have them.
I want to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot here now. Here we go. So, we were talking earlier. So I was born in the United States by default.
Right.
My mom is from El Salvador. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yes, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I've definitely heard of El Salvador.
So not too far from El Salvador, my birth dad, he is from Costa Rica.
Right.
Now, if you look at a map and you see the United States at the top, and then you see Mexico, there's going to be a small little strip of just small little strip of land that connects Mexico to South America. That small little strip, you have like 6 different countries in it. It's like Belize, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama. Crap, I'm gonna get in trouble later because I can't name the rest. But so my first language was Spanish. My mom divorced. My mom divorced when I was really young. So it was just me and my sister, and my mom remarried, and he was Mexican. And we started to learn English. We were you got to learn English. You're in the United States. We started to forget Spanish. So he was like, hell no. We're speaking Spanish in the house, and you could speak whatever the hell you want outside of the house.
Right.
So my Spanish, it's interesting. When I go to Mexico, they're like, we don't know what you are, but your Spanish is good. I'm like, how do you know? I'm like, dude, I look like you. And they're like, no.
I am Juan Moore.
Juan Moore, yeah. And they're like, no, you don't look like me. You look different. You look different. And I'm just, I don't know what different means. And I get this a lot. I actually get this a lot. When I go to El Salvador, they tell me the exact same thing. They're like, dude, your Spanish is really freaking good, but I don't know what you are. I'm like, what do you mean?
You are?
It's rude.
I'm like, you guys are jacked up.
Well, I mean, a lot of people automatically assume that I'm Indian, but my family is from the Caribbean, and in the Caribbean, the second language is Spanish. I don't know anything about it because I was born in Canada, but hey.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot now.
Okay.
¿Qué comida te gusta comer?
What do I like to eat?
Yep, there you go.
Fire.
Awesome. Okay, now you have to answer in Spanish.
Oh man.
Me gusta arroz con pollo.
Dude.
Ooh, that was good. I
Awesome.
even understood that. I like chicken too. I'm joking. I don't even know if she said chicken.
Yeah, she did. Pollo.
I win.
And arroz, rice. Okay. Let's see. And you have to answer in Spanish. ¿Cuántos años tienes?
Oh, no.
¿No se dice? ¿No se dice?
How do I turn on the subtitles?
Yo nunca dice esto.
You're close. Yeah. Cool. So next, I know next is like confused. So you never
Stop talking about food.
You never ask a lady her age,
Uh-huh.
and there's ways of saying politely, like you never ask her age. So I asked her, how old are you? And she responded, you don't ask a lady that, pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't know how to say that, so I just said I never say. Well, that's what I tried to say. I never say that.
I never say that. Yeah. No, you did. It was spot on. I was wondering. I'm like, okay, is she gonna actually give me the number, or is she like?
There are polite ways of asking. It's like saying, "What TV shows did you grow up on?"
Or what year did you graduate high school?
No, that's too much information.
It really is the
That's
year.
too much information.
It's just the year, like 1999. It's like, whatever.
Well, it wouldn't matter anyway, because I think if I was to say some programs that I did grow up on over here, I don't think you guys would have heard them. But I
Right.
suppose
I
you
don't
could
think
always
you guys go in grades over there, right? You guys go in forms or something like that, or
well, we say years. So you've got when you start school, you're in reception, and then it goes year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we say year. You're in year 7. You're in year 6.
So I'm curious about the TV shows, the TV shows that you used to watch. So okay, I'll say this. So to debunk what Next Level is saying, I grew up with Looney Tunes, but Looney Tunes is flipping old. It's very old. So if I say, yeah, I watch Looney Tunes, you're not gonna come at me and say, like, dude, you're 60.
well, I mean, it's about what you can relate to, because people of any age can hold a conversation together no matter what. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you can be relatable and you share an interest or anything like that, right? I mean, I grew up on some old TV shows too, but that's because my oldest brother's 47. So I mean, I've watched older shows. I got into the Star Trek and stuff. I'm fairly young myself, but my son is he'll be 13 this year. So it's like I'm kind of in that in between where my parents are really old and my son's getting kind of into the stuff that I'm kind of into too. I can play Xbox with him. I can watch some of his shows and some of his YouTube channels. So it's an interesting age that I'm kind of in now. So like I said, it's not so much about the age specifically. It's about the interest that you can share and have those conversations with people.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see it.
So what about you guys? Am I allowed to ask you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with telling you my age.
You have to say it in Spanish.
I am a lot younger than Rohas because he's an old man. I am 34.
Okay.
I wanted her to say it in Spanish, but you just answered. Dang it. It's okay.
But you can say your age in Spanish, Rojas.
39.
Okay. So I'm somewhere in between you guys.
There we go.
All right.
That's fair.
Good answer. That's a good answer.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I'm seriously interested though, because you said that we might not know some of the shows, but I'm seriously interested. What did you watch about like when you were younger?
So Grange Hill.
No,
Blank Faces.
Mm-mm.
Biker Grove.
Mm-mm.
Blank Faces.
I'm gonna have to look these up after.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so those were kind of like the shows that you would go home after school and sit down and watch. That's what we had.
Those would have been like our Jetsons and our Ninja Turtles and our Flintstones.
Yeah.
Is it cartoon or like live action?
Live, real people.
So Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters, Steve Urkel, Step by Step.
But those are all American shows, right?
I know, yeah.
Shows.
But I'm pretty sure you've probably heard Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was big over here too. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
But
not the other. I don't know what the other ones you said.
Yeah, the other ones were more, I think, more based out here for sure. Fresh Prince was probably the one that hit global just because it was so popular.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Spain. Okay, so you were in Spain for a couple of years, and then you finally said, "I've had it. I need to go back to the UK."
Well, what happened with the app? Like, were you guys actually able to develop it and release it in Spain?
It was released on the global iPhone market. it did pretty well the first couple of, like for about a year, I think. It got into the top 10 of iPhone games in 2012, 2013. So yeah, it did well for a little bit, and then it kind of fizzled out. So obviously, then money became an issue. So that was one of the reasons to come back. And also, my youngest daughter was born out there, out in Spain. And then I started to get a bit worried about what I was going to do with school and stuff. So it was just a couple of influencing factors that made us decide to return back to the UK, family, just a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, if it wasn't for those reasons, then I think probably still be there, or maybe even moved on to a different country. I don't know. But because of the little one coming along, it was just felt that it was better for her to come back to England so she could get the education over here. So that was the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just the one child?
2.
Okay. I only have the one myself. I would love to have more, but I think as I get older in my years, I think I'm probably going to be looking at adopting when I get to a certain place wherever I am in my life. I've been through a divorce already, and I think I've had one too many, and I'm good from here. But I did want to ask you, are you an iPhone user? Like, why did you specifically go after the iPhone market?
That then at the time, yes, I think with the smartphone technology, Apple was the biggest in the market at that time. Never really enjoyed using the interface. Like with getting stuff onto your phone has always been tremendously difficult. You know, you've always got to go through iTunes and stuff, and that limitation just kind of put me off. And then I got a Samsung. So ever since then, I've been Samsung ever since.
You know, I think it was a pretty smart move because I think even though I completely agree with you, I've never owned an iPhone myself. I've always used Android devices. iTunes or Apple has done a fantastic job building a lucrative market in regards to apps. And it definitely does pull a lot more revenue than Google or any of the other app markets do. So as a business decision, I think it was a great decision to start there and try it out. And then obviously if it didn't fizzle off, then you could explore and expand to other markets if you needed to, right?
Yeah, that's definitely where we're going to head off to, getting it out on the Android market as well. But like I said, it kind of fizzled out, so it wasn't really worth going that direction.
Mm-hmm. Now, what were you doing for work during that time too?
I guess I wasn't really working a whole lot because the game was doing really well. So far as developing and making tweaks was concerned, everything was just enough each month to get by. So I didn't really need to do a whole lot for a couple of years. So those were some good years. Yeah, so nothing else really, just that.
Yeah. So roughly, you said you were in Spain for 4 years, and then you came to the UK. Between then, when you got back to the UK, what were you doing from there up until when you started doing this whole YouTube venture?
Loads of different things, really. Kind of like the idea of working for ourselves, working from home. So set up an eBay business where we'd source out rare retro games, consoles, and stuff like that, and then resell it on eBay. So like a reseller business on eBay, and we did that for a couple of years, and that lasted for a little while. And that was the period really in between coming back from Spain and then YouTube.
Yeah. Now, what year did you start YouTube?
2019.
Okay, so that was last year.
Last year,
Very beginning of last year, towards the end, the middle?
September.
September. Oh, so it's been a full year.
Oh, we just hit your 1 year.
Yes.
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
Happy
You've had a
1-year
stellar
birthday.
year. Like it's been a full year. That's amazing.
Now, with all that being said, we covered a lot of stuff today. We
Good
covered
job.
a lot of stuff. Good job. But we really, really, truly appreciate you, Tanya, for coming here. One thing that we always ask the guest is if there's anything that you would like to say, anything that you want to say to the subscribers, to the viewers, anybody listening or watching, anything that you want to tell them, or maybe even how you end your show typically. Any last words? Go ahead, take it.
I just normally say thank you very much for watching. I obviously appreciate it very much. There isn't really a lot to say. Just follow the community. Keep getting these hints and tips that will help you with your streaming and your cord cutting needs. No, not everything is perfect. Don't believe that everything is perfect, but if you just put in just that little bit of effort that's required, and if you're prepared to do that, then you will be a happy cord cutter.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What is the likelihood that we can see another conversation with you over here on Beyond the Streams?
Anytime.
Yeah, that sounds good. There's so many different topics that we cover. We do a lot of interviews where we, introduce people. We give them a really behind the scenes of who their favorite content creators are, but there's so much more. We've done a lot of, we call them what the hells, but we talk about like random stuff in the community, or we'll talk about tech events that are happening, and we just go back and forth with our own perspectives. So I think it'll be really interesting to bring you on a specific topic and just have a conversation just as people with the same interests. So I think that's really awesome. We had a really, really good conversation today, talked about a lot of different things. We got to know each other, and that's really cool. I'll definitely be looking forward to some more videos from you. I'll try to catch a live stream when I can. And, one thing that we always say is just keep doing what you're doing and you're going to get there. The community loves what you're doing already, because, we hear about it from our subscribers. We see it in the community. You know what I mean? So just keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. Awesome work.
Thank you very much, guys. I do look to you as well, especially over the recent weeks with the news with TV Zion and stuff. I watched your video where you talked about some of the things that was going on in the background. So I do watch you guys as well to keep up with latest stuff. So yeah, it was just a nice community. It's a good platform.
For sure. Now, with all that being said, anybody who is out there watching, listening, throwing smoke signals at each other, I don't know what you're doing out there, but whatever you're doing, make sure you check the description on whatever platform we are on. We will be posting her YouTube channel. Check it out. Make sure you guys do subscribe, leave her a comment, and just go through her videos. She's got so much information. And even if you don't have a Fire Stick, she goes through all the different apps, all the different stuff, and what you can do on a Fire Stick, you pretty much do on any Android device. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So don't be too close-minded where it's just like, oh, it's a Fire Stick and I got the shield. Trust me, guys, you're gonna find a lot of great information on her channel. So make sure you guys do check her out and you guys do subscribe. With all that being said, the couple things that we say here is you guys take care and take care of each other.
Stay humble and be patient. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Take care, guys.
Peace out.